Now imagine if that subwoofer just like crashed and like the whole freaking trunk just blew up. That would be insane. Anyways, guys, again, for me it's pretty late, but we actually have some announcer hearings to get into. It's an annual tradition. This should be a pretty fun one. Again, the Super Bowl is right around the corner, and a couple of these people will obviously be involved in that Super Bowl, so it'd be pretty good to know where they stand. But yeah, annual announcer hearings. Let's get this thing going. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the NFL. Please like and subscribe. Hope you guys are ready for this massive tier ranking, as we'll be going through basically everyone who called an NFL game at some point this season. We got some pretty interesting names in this one. I always love doing this video just because it kind of deviates a little bit from what we're usually talking about, which is a lot more complicated than this. But again, as you guys all know, NFL announcers and the reporters too, I don't want to forget them because again, they're also essential to a again good broadcast. Tiers wise, it's very simple. I think for this, I think we can just kind of stick with it. One of kind of a breath of fresh air in terms of our normal tier rankings. Again, Super Bowl 60 prediction, that's coming out soon. I'll just tell you guys that right now. And obviously Super Bowl just around the corner. That's the NFL right now. It's just that simple. Again, if you're looking at anything else, unless there's something major in terms of something else that goes out, we know what's going on there. But again, Super Bowl prediction preview coming tomorrow. Or technically still today. I guess you get the point. But all you guys need to know is Super Bowl Sunday's tomorrow. And tier ranking here for the announcers. D tier, these announcers, it's kind of hard to, it depends on what you're doing here, but these people are just, they're not great. Let's be honest there. C, they're kind of average. There's going to, I think, really just people that I'm kind of frustrated in terms of, again, watching them commentate and stuff. B tier, solid announcers. There's not really too many issues I have. A tier, they're really, really freaking good. Again, there's definitely a reason why some of these top tier announcers are there. That's why they're in the, again, they'd probably be in the A tier. Then the S tier guys, they're again, you know who they are. They're iconic. There's a reason they're that good. All right. Again, we'll have a lot of reporters in here, and obviously everyone who, again, kind of involved in the game here. But again, first one being Laura Rutledge, who again is, I think, what is she, the NFL Live host for ESPN and stuff. She does a lot of that. But yeah, she again, I think this is the first season she really worked on Monday Night Football as again a true reporter alongside Lisa Salters, and she did a really freaking good job. I don't think I can put her above C tier though, just because of the fact that she isn't. Again, she's more of a host than a true reporter, but she did a really good job in her first season. I liked a lot of the insightful reports she made, and also just the way she delivered it was very unique, which I think was interesting just because, again, it was her first year doing it. Again, we'll get, I don't even know this, it's kind of random or organized randomly. Next up, we have Chris Fowler. Again, a lot of people know him for college football. As an NFL announcer, I'm going to put him in B tier. Obviously, college, he's around here or here. I mean, you probably even here. But for NFL, obviously, very similar delivery. It's just a lot of the same prestige just isn't there because, again, the games he's calling, again, they're technically national televised games because he is on ESPN's second team. But, again, you can tell he's more geared toward college the way he calls plays. But, again, as an NFL broadcaster, perfectly solid. Again, if he was on the more regular, it would be around here. But, obviously, he's one of the better announcers we've had in a long time. He's awesome. Louis Riddick, similar guy. He's very, again, we'll get to these next couple guys. Again, some of these guys that aren't true color commentators, again, usually work in the studio. Louis Riddick's one of those guys. He, again, has a lot of experience, though. He had called Monday Night Football for a couple of years there. I'm going to put him in B tier right next to Chris Fowler. Sometimes he makes a couple, I won't say ill-advised, but some, I won't say even incorrect reads, but they're not always the most timely. Again, he doesn't always make the most timely analysis, and just, again, that is kind of hard. Again, it's going to be kind of throws off the rhythm of the game. But in terms of his actual, football knowledge and stuff, I mean, there's no question he's right up there with the best, again, of these people here. But, again, it's a true, I love him in the studio. But in terms of a true announcer here, I think he's right B tier. He has to call some college games, too. But, yeah, he's going to go B tier for me. Dan Orlovsky, I think, it's tough to say. I want to put him in C tier. Dan Orlovsky is a true announcer. I think similar to these, now, again, we talk about ESPN's second team here. These are college football announcers right now. Dan Orlovsky in the very near future could move up to this B tier. I still think, though, there was a time probably he was in D tier because, again, there were certain games where he just didn't do a good job calling it. In terms of, again, we talk about a floor for him, I think this is where he sits. I just don't know if I can put him here yet because he's not really been the most consistent in terms of color commentary. Obviously, he knows football, again, in terms of the quarterback position, basically as good as anyone who's going to call the game. So again, especially with the delivery he has. But I think there are definitely some things where he kind of gets overexcited is probably the best way to put it, and it's not always going to be the most accurate analysis from what, again, maybe again, a fan of both sides would say. I'm trying to dip my toes around this, but yeah, he's gonna go in C tier. I want to put him higher though, because again, in the studio he's electric. Again, if we're talking about straight up entertainment value, again, that's more for an actual announcer, but you could definitely put him here, because it's really just the fact that I think his analysis is a little bit all over the place, but still at the same time, again, this is a studio, he'd be here because of the fact that he gets people to friggin' listen. That's simple. But I want to put him in B tier. Just again, I think Louis Rick's just a lot more polished than him. That's kind of where I'm sitting there. Katie George, she's a really solid reporter. I'm putting her in B tier. I don't. This is not. I'm probably gonna put her in C tier next to Laura. Laura, to be fair. But she calls a lot of college football games. She is probably, again, I've said that in Holly Rowe, the best college football reporter in the country. She makes a lot. I mean, she gets a lot of good quotes out of coaches and players. Again, it's just something that she's really good at that I've noticed over the years. But at the same time, I don't think as an NFL reporter she's really gotten the notoriety or the exposure to really be above this, but she does a really good job, and again, I think if she got the opportunity, she'd really thrive. Peter Schrager, similar to Dan Orlovsky, he's not again, it's hard to say, because I mean, I kind of just got to put him in B tier just because of the fact that this guy, his work will always be quality. There's no, again, questioning that. It's just if, again, is he really more of a reporter or a guy that is a natural reporter that works better on TV? He's obviously been a very fascinating guy in the media, again, over the really ever since he came into it. But again, in terms of reporter here, he gives you guys very accurate reports. They're going to always have good detail and usually some sort of, I won't say nuance, but something to kind of spin off of it that isn't exactly directly from just the report, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, he works his butt off. He's going to go in B tier. Noah Eagle, a lot of people are going to hate this. I'm putting him in A tier. Obviously, the way he calls games are kind of a step down from his dad. But guys, he has a very, very energetic voice, and he doesn't really use it in a way that's going to kind of like hurt what you're listening to. He doesn't get hurt the quality of the game. Like if there's a big play, he's going to make the exciting call, and it's going to kind of match the tone of it. And I think that's something that a lot of other announcers either underplay or overplay, but he always is going to be able to fit in with that, which I think is really unique for him. Even though obviously as an announcer there's definitely something to his voice, but I'm gonna put him here because I think he's really done a great job. And obviously college announcer, he's probably one of the better ones in the country. It's just, or again in the business, it's just, again, as an NFL announcer, again, I think I gotta put him here. I really like what he does. Todd Blackledge is a really solid analyst. Again, similar to, like I say, for college, he is much more apt recently, but again, in terms of the NFL, he always, again, for the context of the situation, like team introductions and stuff, always gives you, again, top tier things there. It's just, I don't know, again, at least in terms of NFL announcer, if he's really, because again, he doesn't call that many games. I can't put him much higher than this. But again, I know Eagle, if we're talking about like true play-by-play guys, I can kind of figure that out. And you might ask, why is Chris Fowler below Noah Eagle? It's just because I think, again, as an NFL announcer, in terms of the energy he brings, it's just, it's more. There's definitely more of a ceiling with him. This is, how am I blanking? Who is this? Am I just straight up blanking? I think this is Melissa Stark, right? Am I just getting deceived? No, it's Catherine Tappan. Catherine Tappan just doesn't really call a lot of games at this point. I'm going to put her in C tier. I don't think she goes below there because, again, there's not really a way I can put her here. But she was always, again, like, what was it, NBC's second team. For college football games, she doesn't really do a lot. That really surprises me. Again, she's just kind of there. So, I mean, that's why I'll put her there. Lisa Salter's S tier. She's been on for ESPN for so long. She probably gives the most detailed reports overall out of anybody, and it's still easy to understand. And it just really, she sets the scene for the game better than I think anyone else in the again for ESPN. It's just like she's money. Like, there's no other way to put it. Jim Nantz, he's gonna go in B tier. Guys, I don't know. Like again, the intros of the CBS AFC Championships, NFC divisional rounds, wild cards, they're legendary. Every time you NFL season comes around, you hear that music. You again. See him introing the game, it's awesome. But in terms of his actual announcing, it's kind of hard for me to put it above here. Obviously, again, recently, just look back to 2021 Bills Chiefs, calls like that. Obviously, those games masterpieces, obviously. But at this point for Jim Nantz, obviously legendary announcer. I just don't really see him as he's obviously a great announcer, but he just doesn't really bring that energy that I really think a lot of these great announcers have. But still, I'll put him in A. I think this is more fair. I think Tony Romo definitely brings it down. For Tony Romo, his game has definitely dropped down a little bit. He's obviously still a great announcer, but yeah, he definitely doesn't make the same sort of, again, we talk about like the predicting plays and stuff and how he was like the wonder of the world with that. That definitely hasn't happened recently. Again, over look at the past like 3 or 4 years, it's kind of been like very similar, stagnating performance on his part. But at the same time, he doesn't really take any big misses anymore, which I think is, again, I think something that a lot of people are going to overlook in terms of his announcing style there. Iron Eagle straight to S tier. There's not really much complaining talking about that. We'll get into another guy in a second. Honestly, just throw Kevin Harlan up there too. They're the two best announcers in the world, and I don't really think it's very close. Kevin Harlan, obviously, everyone loves. Other than Gus Johnson, probably has the most unique voice in all of sports. Iron Eagle right there too, but even then, both these guys they just don't miss. They're just too good at it. They improv. It's again peak entertainment. JJ Watt, he's going to S tier too. A lot of people might not like that, but I love his personality. He is very honest and frank and blunt with his analysis, and I just think that's something that no one really, again, maybe outside of a couple of guys in terms of analysts, really have in them. And most of those guys are on the radio, so that's why I'm going to say that. JJ Watt, he again just brings something that I've seen that again really I'm shocked that he's been able to do. Obviously, still rough around the edges, but in terms of an actual just like bona fide announcer, I mean, again, personality wise and all that, you're just not going to get much better than him there. Tim Green's going to go in. Trent Green, holy crap, what a brick! He's going to go in A tier. Really, really good analyst. I don't know again with CBS being on CBS's third team. I think that part of the reason that again Kevin Harlan isn't again really higher is because he obviously has other jobs, Jesus. But Trent Green, I think he's a great analyst because he tells you what's going on. It's again you need to know what's going on. He's gonna get that done for you. He might not have the craziest energy or always the most insightful things to say, but he's gonna tell you what happened. He's gonna explain why it happened, and he's gonna say it in a way that you'll understand and still be engaged, which I think is huge. But yeah, he's gonna go in A tier. I think it does help that he has Kevin Harlan next to him, obviously, but I don't want to bump him too much for that because he's still a great analyst. This is Melody Collins. She's a solid reporter. I don't think she's anything more than that. I don't really see anything in terms of reports that is anything crazy, but yeah. She's a pretty decent reporter. Andrew Catalan, he's going to B tier too. I've never really thought of him as an awesome announcer. He's definitely made some interesting calls over the years. Definitely catches your eyes. And again, we talk about these like big plays. He'll never miss them. But in terms of again his overall calling, it's a little bit all over the place at times. Jason McCourty for me is going to go in C tier. I just don't think his analysis is always the most on point from what I've seen. Especially we look back on tape with things. I watch plays like, oh, I see this, and I'm like, It's just kind of, it's not something, it's not, again, it's not really his credibility, so I'd say, but in terms of the offensive side of the ball, there's just some points where he just doesn't always get it across, and I think it's just hard to understand there. And then we go to Charles Davis, he's also B tier. He's always been a solid analyst. No, I don't know if we put him in A tier. Again, obviously, you can talk about Madden, you hear him a lot on there, but Charles Davis, he's always been a great announcer and analyst there, but again, it's really just because, again, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I think he should obviously still be a national TV broadcaster, but again, J.J. Watt coming in, kind of understandable why he got bumped. But still, he did a great job this past season. A.J. Ross, solid reporter. I'm putting her in A tier. Again, there's really nothing to say here. I mean, she just gets it done. Gene Steratore. All right, and up next is Gene Steratore. Again, you can say all you want about the TikTok communities, but there's definitely something to it. I don't want to sound like, again, kind of a casual here, but guys, he's not good. I'm sorry. Like, whenever we're talking about, again, the rules officials here. Whenever there's anything, like, important to say, he either gets it wrong, which is, I mean, not great, or he doesn't explain it in a way that I think is really valuable. I mean, he's just kind of there, let's be honest. And not in a way that's always great. Espirititas, he's about as average of an announcer as you get. I think he brings some energy on those big plays. Obviously, look at that Bengals Bears game is the big example there. But just overall, guys, again, he calls the worst games. Again, there's only so much he can do, and honestly, I just don't think he does a lot with it. Adam Archuleta, I'm putting right next to him. Very simple. Decent announcer. Not much else to say, though, because I just don't think his really breakdown of the game is anything unique. But at the same time, he does do a couple decent things in terms of or talking about like techniques and like really trying to get big points across, which I think again is something he's good at, and not really always making it too direct where it's like, okay, I understand sort of thing. But yeah, he obviously is just about as average again. They don't call very big games. Adiji Kingaball, she's a reporter on this team. She's going to go in B tier. I don't have much to complain about with her. Whenever there's a big injury, she always gets it out pretty quick and tells you usually a decent timeline of it too, which I think is pretty interesting. But yeah, she's just kind of there. Chris Lewis, he's gonna go in C tier. I like the way, again, I like his voice. I like the way he calls games. He doesn't really seem too serious. But again, he doesn't call very good games, so it's kind of hard to talk too much with that. Beth Mons, I think she only called like one game this year. It would have been like a bad game too. She's just gonna go in C tier, I guess. She just doesn't call games. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Logan Ryan and Kyle Long, I guess they go hand in hand here. They both do like CBS's like pregame, or this past season did like their pregame show. Kind of bizarre there, but both of them are gonna go in D tier. They're just not very good commentators. They're good on like the studio, I guess. I haven't watched. I think I checked it out a couple times, but yeah, they're not very good at just normal calling normal games. But yes, I do like their studio work. They're doing a good job with that. Again, also their first year, so very high potential for them. Tiffany Blackman, she calls like, I don't even know, one game a year. I never really thought her reports were very good, to be honest with you guys. That's just my opinion on it. Tom McCarthy, he's going in B tier. He's a good announcer. He calls Phillies games. Whenever there's a big play, he's going to make it known. He's just got a really good voice too. I think that's the biggest with him. He's got that voice. Who the heck is this? I couldn't tell you who this is. Who we got here? Ross Tucker. Yeah, he's about the most bland announcer I've ever heard. He doesn't really give true. Again, I kind of had a rust patch here, but he doesn't really give true analysis, which is something I really don't like. But I guess he says something of value. I guess. Jason Benetti, he's a good announcer. He's going in A tier. Again, I don't want to harp on these college announcers, but that's a guy who in the future should be an NFL announcer. He's just got the voice. There's no other way to put it. Alex Faust, he's going in C tier. Again, a lot of people might put him in D tier just because, again, even in college, he doesn't call very big games. But he does have a decent voice, and I think that he definitely is a lot more detailed in the way that he, again, kind of like inflicts different things. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, he's just going there. Eric Collins, if you remember that Rico Dowell game, he called that one. Very interesting dude. I'm gonna put him in B tier just because this guy has so much energy. Obviously, the Miles Bridges play with the Hornets there. He's just a fun guy to again listen to. Matt Millen going C tier. He's about as average as the guys are gonna get. He's old school though, which is pretty cool because you don't get much of that now. But yeah, he's just kind of there. He's gonna let you know when someone made a mistake though. Brady Quinn D tier. He's never been a good analyst, but there's no other way to put it. He's just not very good at it. RG3 C tier. He at least will tell you what happened, but beyond that, not really. All right, who's this? And we're gonna have some people here. I'm like, little shaky on. Sarah Acoustic. She's B tier. She doesn't really ever make mistakes, which I think is the biggest thing I can say on her. Outside of that, there's not really much I'm gonna say because most of her reports are just that she hits them on the nail. Chris Myers, he's gonna go in C tier. He's just again. We look back to like 5 years ago, I think he was definitely a lot more energetic than he is now. Still, obviously, a solid announcer, but yeah, he's more of a studio guy for like baseball at this point. Mark Schlereth, I want to put in B tier because I feel like he's creative, but the fact that he hasn't really moved up and still hasn't really taken any steps over the past couple years kind of like hurts his ranking here. But yeah, he used to be, or not used to be, but he was a guy who's always been pretty creative, but it really hasn't taken a step. So that again, that's why I'm kind of putting him C here. The stagnation doesn't really love it. Jen Hale, I'm putting in B tier. Again, it's kind of hard not to ignore her reports, but yeah, they're usually pretty good. I just think again she's not really always the most direct, which I think is probably the one thing I'll have on her. But other than that, she gets it done. Dean Blandino, he's going in C tier. Mike Pereira is going in A tier. Again, there's definitely a difference between their rules analysts analysis there. Again, really just for Mike Pereira, he tells you what happened. He gets it right every time. Dean Blandino seems a little bit shaky here. He kind of just tells you the basic part of the rule and never really points anything big out, which I think is kind of just, whatever, I guess. But at least he's not G territory wasting space. Kevin Kugler, A tier. Love him as announcer. Mark Schlereth, yeah, you're in jail, bro. Drew Brees, B tier. Again, this is tough. Maybe put him in A tier. It's just kind of hard to ignore the fact that he's, again, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, and you can definitely notice it with on film, again, listening to him. Daryl Johnson's even better. He's going in S tier. He's a fantastic announcer. Again, in terms of an epitome of an announcer, you look at a guy. Again, we'll get to definitely someone else in a little bit, but yeah, he's your guy. This is Allison Williams. She's really on the rise, guys. I'm gonna keep her in B tier, but she's made a name for herself. She's called the UConn St. John's game. She knows what she's doing. Kenny Albert, he's A tier. He's just, again, he's got probably the best voice out of any announcer. In terms of, we're just talking like straight up, he calls like basically everything. He's just an absolute workhorse. Again, it kind of sucks he isn't this true top announcer. He might get 1 or 2 national games a year, but yeah, he's really freaking good. Jonathan Vilma is going in C tier. Again, a lot of people want to put him in D tier. A lot of people hate the way he calls games. I think his unique personality really helps him out and also hurts him. So, again, the fact that he hasn't really improved a ton over the past couple, really 5 years since he's been, again, he's a little less raw, but his unique personality I like. But again, it hurts him in some other ways too. So that's kind of where he ends up. Megan Olivia B tier. Nothing really special with her, but at the same time, she does do some things that I think are like kind of special. Really, just again, we look at like the quarterbacks and like the way she interviews with them. I think it's very I won't say personal, but it kind of gets to them, and they're able to again kind of respond in a way that I think is again subjective for each one of them, which I think is pretty cool. She just has a touch with that. Christina Pink, B tier too. Again, not really much to talk about with her. Former Thursday Night Football broadcaster, obviously with when Fox used to have that, but yeah, she does a decent job. Joe Davis, A tier. I don't love him, but he does have a crazy good voice. Again, Dodgers announcer, Fox announcer for baseball. For the NFL, definitely a guy that I think definitely overcalls plays, but at the same time, right now, he gets it done. Adam Amin, he's a great Bulls announcer. I'm not gonna lie, guys, but NFL wise, I gotta put him in B tier just because I don't love him in the NFL. To be honest with you guys, when he calls a Rams game, I'm not really as excited as I think I would have been if Joe Davis called it, but he gets it done. Greg Olson, S tier. He's the best analyst, if not the best commentator in all of the NFL. He just brings it to the he appeals to everyone, which I think is just that's the biggest thing here. Well, J.J. Watt might have more energy than him. I mean, Greg Olson, he has everything you want. There's no other way. This is his thing. This is Pam Oliver. She's been doing this forever. She's an A tier. She's just a great reporter. I don't know if she's as unique as AJ Ross and how she reports to the game, but Pam Oliver, she's been doing it forever. She knows what's up. Tom Brady, he's gonna go and see. Oof. I don't want to put him in B tier, but I still got to say him in C tier. He definitely stepped up his game from last year, but I don't know if it was really to an extent where I can put him to B tier just because of the fact there's still a lot of things he does that is kind of annoying. That's what I'll say. Kevin Burkhardt, S tier. He's an awesome announcer. There's no other way to put it. There's a clear difference between him and Joe Davis there. And he's also much more versatile, and he presents the game in a very professional manner, which I think is important despite his obviously having a great voice. Tom Rinaldi, he's a great reporter, A tier, and obviously Aaron Andrews going S tier. They're too great. They're the best ones at Fox. There's really nothing else to say. Again, there's a reason they're on the top team. Rich Eisen for me is a studio announcer. He has never been a good NFL announcer. I don't think that much will change. Kurt Warner, I'm putting in B tier. I think he gets held back by the fact that Rich Eisen never really sets him up the greatest, but at the same time, there's definitely some times where he can kind of extend analysis more than he does, but he does have like the right ideas, which I think is really good. Who the heck is this? What are we doing with this dude? Terry McCauley. Oh yeah, he's the freaking rules official for NBC, right? I don't know. He does something. I don't really listen to him a lot. I'm putting him in C tier. I don't have really too many opinions on him. Is this Stacey Dales? Now we're getting to like a little bit of a gray area here because, yeah, it is. She calls a lot of NFL Network stuff. She does a lot of good reporting overall. NFL reporting, I don't have the biggest opinions on, but she get quality reporter there. Oh yeah, destroying covered part of the Charter Chiefs game to kick off the season in Brazil. I thought he did a pretty interesting job. He I think he danced with Travis Kelce or something. I guess put him in C tier. I don't know. I don't think there was much to his reporting, but I mean he made it pretty fun. This is Jamie Ertl, if I'm not mistaken. She's obviously the NFL Network Good Morning Football host. I don't know a lot of the other stuff she does, but overall for me, I'm putting her in B tier. She's just a very unique personality and brings, again, reports that aren't always the most, conventional. This is Sarah Walsh, maybe. Again, she very well calls games. I'm about to put her in C tier. There's really nowhere else to put her. Al Michaels, yeah, you're going in C tier. We look again. You want to fall asleep to an NFL game? He's your dude. Kirk Herbstreit, A tier. He's one of the best announcers in the entire sport. Obviously, he's S tier for college. But yeah, again, great job with Thursday Night Football. Again, there's some points where I think he's a little bit more makes plays a little bit more ambiguous than they need to be, or just convoluted. And I think that's something again you can definitely improve on. But I mean, he's been doing this forever, bro. This is where he belongs. Kaylee Hartung, I'm putting her in B tier. I have too many opinions on her as a reporter. I think she definitely does a good job with the coach interviews for sure. She brings up unique questions, but I think again she follows her game plan and it works most of the time. Mike Tirico's going in S tier. He's phenomenal. Again, they have the Super Bowl this year. Again, first time he's ever calling the Super Bowl, so good for him. Chris Collinsworth, he's just straight up cheese. I want to put him in. I don't. Again, there's some situations you want to put him in D tier because he just again doesn't move off the same topic, but again he brings viewers. So again, I can just say that on him, and also overall his analysis isn't really, again, no one's gonna complain too much about it. This is how am I blanking on this? It's just not common. Most of the start. This is she might be the most engaging reporter in the sport. I don't know if she's the best though. That's what I'll say on that. But she, again, you gotta listen to whenever she's reporting. Joe Buck and do I put him in S tier? I gotta put him in A tier, guys. I don't know. Again, obviously, a lot of people used to hate him. A lot of people, he's a lot more loved now, but I don't know. I'm still not the biggest fan of Joe Buck. Troy Aikman, he can go in A tier though, or wherever he landed. Not there. He's going S tier. He does a good job. Last three people here. Amanda Bally, she does like golf now. I don't know. I'm putting her in D tier. I haven't heard her call a game in a while. When she used to, I didn't really love it. Again, kind of a dud ending here. But Tracy Wolfson, I don't know. She's a decent reporter. I don't really ever understand why she was CBS's top team. But again, she's doing a lot. Been doing a lot. Evan Washburn, A tier. He does a really, really freaking good job. Again, really in the playoffs. At kind of explaining the context of situations for how, again, a report would come out for a certain reason, and just the development of it, which I think is, again, something, some other reporters don't really dive too deep into. But anyway, that's all I have for you guys here. A little bit of a longer one, but that was your 2026 NFL announcer tier rankings. Again, a little bit of change, but most of these are definitely similar to last year just because of the fact that, it's kind of hard to go from, if you're freaking Greg Olsen, from here to, here. It's just not going to happen in a year. But especially with a definitely much less volatile system as NFL broadcasting is. But anyway, guys, those are 2026 NFL announcer tier rankings. Comment down in the section below where you'd put each one of these people. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys here. Super Bowl prediction coming sometime today, I guess. But yeah, other than that, again, get ready for that Super Bowl.
One-on-one Wilson, miscommunication and a pick for Sidney Brown. And Sidney Brown's got room. Cuts it back, inside the 40. Now he's upfield. He goes all the way for the Eagles touchdown. 98 yards.
He's doing post corner, throws it downfield. Sidney Brown, hey, watch all these Philadelphia Eagle defenders right now. Get out there with that motor.